So here's our OEM oil filter, remote filter that would have been on the car. And allegedly these are hooked up with cotton inside as a medium, and obviously when they get this age they are not going to do anything to help the car. So in light of all of that, we needed something new. And here we have a nice replacement assembly with a bunch of junk I had kicking around, and absolutely not. No. Look at that. This is a thing of beauty. This came from Kaiser Willys. This is a remote filter for a Willys Jeep, and it is an absolutely beautiful filter. I'm crazy about the orange, but that's fixable. And this has a changeable element, so don't know who Baldwin filters are. We're gonna have to trust them. I believe that this is a OEM style part for the Willys, so I think I can just order filters for them. A little bit put off by these fittings they gave me. I'm hoping these guys have NPT because that's what I got. But hold on, I'll take it apart. So we got a really nice rigid housing. So when we just drop this guy in, just for demonstration, you know, this isn't anything special. This is a filter that you would just mount remotely. They were an option back in the day. I mean, I don't know about these specific Jeeps, but I think as far as the Buick went, it came with a filter. But that said, we were not at this era filtering all of the oil. So it goes right here, and you can just see right, I bypassed it just to run it so it wasn't shooting around. But this would have only been a partial filter. So, you know, that is to say that this would have just filtered the top end. So I think that the thought process was that we're going to just filter some of the oil, and sooner or later all the oil will mix. If the particle was going to float around into the oil, sooner or later it was going to get trapped in the filter. If not, it was just going to sink to the bottom of the pan. I think another quick point is that these cars were designed to work on non-detergent oil only, and there's two reasons for that. The first is that the engine is coated with gunk on the inside, and if you introduce a detergent oil, it's going to soften all that up, and then you're going to start circulating it. And since it's only a partially filtered system, you're not going to capture all of that contamination. You're just going to continually circulate that garbage through your engine. And on the heels of that is there is suspension agents in new oil. And what a suspension agent does is it keeps, in this case, particulate matter in suspension within the solution. So it's designed to grab particles and carry them to an oil filter, basically get them to safety. Where on an engine like this, you're only filtering part of it, so you know you're just continually circulating that debris. It isn't going to settle out to the bottom of the pan like it would have originally. You're kind of bypassing that system. So, you know, if you've got something like this, just be really careful. That's not a good thing to throw caution to the wind on. All right, this is what we got so far. We got the clamp cleaned up. This is the line that comes from the oil pump. And on our assembly here, there's a couple things. So I think the first thing was it came with these style fittings. These are a 24 pitch, and it was threaded out with a 27 pitch. So it was like a 5/16 NPT, but I don't think it was NPT. I think it was a straight thread because 5/8 NPT didn't go in. So what I ended up doing was I used a easy out on these, or a easy out, I used to tap on these to kind of turn the threads into NPT, and you got to take your time with it, but it works. They're going there. So yeah, these here that came with it, I put one of them in there and it did not go in nicely, and you can see it kind of mauled up the threads. So I mean, it probably works fine. You just jam it in there, it makes its own threads, and it probably doesn't leak. But the Buick deserves much better than that. And this is what I came up with for the bottom. So this is going to be the outlet that feeds up into the head. What I decided to do is put a T in here, send it up to the head, and then I got a plug here that I can take out for two reasons. So I can drain the filter housing out when I change the oil, or if I want to put an oil pressure gauge up there just to kind of see what's going on, because I'm still not 100% confident that we don't have plugged passages or whatever. So I'd like to have that ability, and I think now's the time. So on these, this is actually the inlet, and the outlet is down there. So you're feeding in the bath around the filter. Your particles get trapped in the medium, and then it drains out to the bottom. This is the way this was designed to work, so that's why I'm going to hook it up. Normally you fill from the bottom and you pull from the top, and that way you don't have air pockets trapped in. But I think this is built to have a head of air up here. You're always going to have a head of air above this fitting, and since the drain is at the bottom and the element's in there and it's thick oil, I don't think there's a really good chance you're going to aerate the oil down into this line. It must work. But if you look at the diagram on the Buick one, it does show you filling from the bottom and forcing oil out through the top, which is what I'm more used to, but this isn't designed to work that way, so I don't want to go against the grain on that one, because it seems risky to pull from this side, just because of the way it's set up. You can imagine that you've got that head of air trapped in there that's kind of accounted for, and if you wire it up the other way, you probably will be pushing air out of the system up into the system. Alright, well, that's what we got so far. The original line has the old compression fitting, I forgot what they're called. We have our drain right here, where our pressure gauge can go. And this is our original line. So what I ended up doing was I did an inverted flare on here, and I switched this over to IF, and of course that's IF now. So that's where that's at. And of course, for posterity, we're going to give it a prime. Because why on earth would it do?